Welcome to Altair Engineering Training and Support. In this video, I am going to show you how to perform analysis of wheel hub using 3D mesh. So for the wheel hub, we are going to apply the forces in two direction, somewhere near 3G, and once we'll apply also some torque on the top side, uh, gross around 1G, and a lateral force on the say 2G forces for in lateral direction, and will constrain the other half of the wheel hub. Will follow the same process as MPCLL for the static analysis of wheel hub. That is, first we create material, then property of the 3D elements, then we create component collector and update with the proper property, then we create load collectors as forces, torque and constraint, then we define the type of analysis. Here we'll use linear static. So we'll start the so open Hypermesh GUI from the start pull down menu, all programs, select Hypermesh. This will open the Hypermesh. Once you open the Hypermesh, from the preferences pull down menu, go to user profile and select the appropriate user profile to perform the static analysis. For the static analysis, always make sure you have selected radius bulk data to get the proper cards and properties of it, and click on OK. Then click on open folder. Before that, make sure on the top you may have seen this radius bulk data, so the proper bulk data format has been uploaded. And also once it's done, then click on open folder to open the file. If you have the geometry of the wheel hub, then you can import it through import geometry icon. From here you can import the IGS file or any different kinds of format file of this IGS format. As I have the HM file of the wheel hub, so I will open the Hypermesh file. From the model browser you can change the color also. So this is the wheel hub geometry. First I will start with the geometry editing as we have discussed earlier also. So first we have to do the geometry editing so that it will automatically convert that to a 3D mesh. So click on the, to enter the geometry editing panel, first click on the visualization icon. Then off the shared and suppressed edges and make it into line mode to check whether you have any free edges on the or non-manifold edges on your geometry or not. So now as you can see, I don't have any free and non-manifold edges on my geometry, so it's perfectly fine with for the meshing. For the geometry editing, you can see the knuckle analysis model, so that will help you to see the geometry editing. The same way you have to edit the geometry, we have to remove the solids. Either you can take a complete solid model or a surface model. So if you are taking a surface model, it has to be an enclosed volume with all the green or blue edges. If there is any T connection, then the yellow edges will be okay. Otherwise you have to remove the yellow color edges also. Always make sure that you should not put the geometry color as red, green, blue or yellow, because these are the color edges. So if you put like this, you cannot see the color of these edges. So you should not put the color of the geometry as this. So if the color is something like white or if it's red, so you can change it from this to a different color, different from the visualization panel. This you can select this. You don't have to put this colors. Okay. So now I will enter to 3D tetramesh panel to to generate a 3D mesh, 3D tetramesh for this wheel hub. So I'll go to 3D tetramesh. In the tetramesh panel, select the volume tetra radio button. In the enclosed volume, select the surfaces from the drop box, select surfaces. If your geometry is completely enclosed volume, it will pick all the surfaces automatically. As you can see, it has picked all the surfaces automatically. Select the 2D type as R trias, 3D type as tetra, elements to current component, make this as the current component. Just right click on this and make it as current component. You can also change the name if it's coming like IV10. If it's due to the CAD importing, you can rename it as, say, we have a wheel hub, so I will rename it as wheel hub. You can rename it also, and make sure that this is the current component. Check the box for use curvature and use proximity, so it will capture all the fillets and sharp deviation of the surfaces and generate a good mesh pattern for 3D elements. Enter the minimum element size as 0.5 and average element size as 2, and enter the feature angle as 30. Feature angle stands for the angle between the normals of the two elements. It helps to create or capture a curved regions of your geometry more accurately. Then click on mesh. Once you click on mesh, it will start the process. You can see on the bottom that it has started the mesh processing. So now you can see my wheel hub has been meshed by 3D elements. I will off the surfaces from the component. I'll off this surface and just mask a portion of it and check how it mesh the 3D, how it mesh the wheel hub. You can see here it has meshed the wheel hub with this, completely filled it. If I click reverse, so this is the second half portion. So it has completely filled my wheel hub with a 3D tetra elements. So I'll then click on unmask all. Then my next step is to check the elements quality. So I will click return to exit the tetra mesh panel, and I'll click on tools page and select check elements, or you can directly press F10 from your keyboard to enter the check elements panel. F10 is the shortcut for check elements. Select the radio button as 3D because these are the 3D elements, so we'll check the elements quality for 3D. For 3D, we'll check aspect ratio first, so all the elements are passing on the aspect ratio. Then we check the TET collapse. So in TET collapse also all the elements are passing the TET collapse value. Then we check the minimum angle, that my minimum angle should not be less than 10 degrees, so it is passing all the minimum angle criteria, and also it is passing the maximum angle criteria. So these 4 checks we generally have to apply for 3D tetra mesh. So now as you can see, my meshing is perfectly done. So now I will move towards the MPCLL process to simulate this wheel hub. So first step in the MPCLL is to create the material. So to create material, I will click on material collector icon. Enter the material name as steel. Select the color different from the component one, so that I can check whether my elements are assigned with proper material or not by elements color mode. Then select the type as isotropic, card image as mat1, and click on create edit. Enter the values of E, new and row, and then click on return. Again click on return to exit the material collector panel. On the model browser you can see my material is got created as steel. Now in MPCLL process, my next step is to create the property. So I will click on property, collector icon, to create the property. I will create a property for, say, wheel hub as the property. Select the type as 3D, define a different color from component and material. Select the card image as P solid and define the material. Then click on create edit. As we don't have any other physical parameters to define for 3D elements, so we'll click on return to exit the card edit panel, and again click return to exit the property collector panel. So on the model browser you can see my property has now been defined. So I will update this property with proper, I'll update this component with proper property and material. So to update the component, I will go to component collector, go to update panel and select the update radio button in component collector, because my component is already created. My meshing is already available in this component. click on the components and select wheel hub and click on select. From the toggle window to no property, I'll toggle it down to property and select the wheel hub property and click on update. So now I will just cross check it whether my properties are, my elements have been assigned with proper property and material or not. So from the elements color mode, I will select by property, so it should get a color of property, and if I click on by material, it should get a proper color of material. So now as it is showing the colors of material and property, so now my elements have got all the materials and property. Now the next step is to apply the loads and boundary condition. So we are going to constrain these 4 bolting location and a back plate of this backside we are going to constrain. Along with that, we are going to apply the forces in X, Y axis in this area, and we are going to apply a Z force. We are going to apply X and Y in this, and a Z force in this side. Also, we are going to apply some torque for this particular zone. So as there are 2-3 ways to apply the forces and constraint. First is to pick all the nodes and apply the forces and or say for this apply the constraint on each node, and if I want to apply the forces, I have to pick all the nodes on this and apply the forces on each of the nodes. So to update that will be tedious work. So once I can also there is one way that I can create a rigid elements and then apply the forces and constraint at the center of the rigid, and it will get divided in equal amount to all the nodes connected through that center rigid element. So now I'll show you how to create rigid elements and how to apply the forces and constraint on those rigid elements. So first of all, I will create the rigid elements for these bolt locations. So first I will, to create rigid elements, I need to have I'll require a center of this cylindrical bolt location. So to create a center of this, I will go to F4 or geometry distance. F4 is the shortkey of distance panel. Select the 3 nodes panel and click on the nodes on the circumference of this and click on circle center. Similarly, I will select the 3 nodes at the other circle. So it will create a 2 circle centers, and the center of these 2 points will be my center of this particular cylinder. Similarly, I will do the process for this area. So I will create circle center for this. Similarly, arbitrary, you have to select any 3 nodes and create a circle center. Then select deselect it and select N1 as this and N21 as this and click on the nodes between. Again, pick these 3 nodes, arbitrary 3 nodes at the circumference, click on circle center. Similarly, select the 3 nodes and say circle center. Pick the node N1 and N2 and click on nodes between. So in this way it has created a node in between this. Similarly, for the 4th one, I will again do the same. Select the any 3 arbitrary circles. From here also I will select any arbitrary 3 circles and say circle center. Then from these 2 nodes I will click on nodes between. So now I have created a center node, but there are few more nodes, as you can see if I off this. So on each bolt location you can see there are 3 nodes. So I only require the center one. So to lower down my confusion level, I can remove those. So press Shift F2 from your keyboard or go to geometry temporary nodes. Shift F2 is the shortkey for geometry temporary nodes, and select the 2 nodes which you don't require, keeping the center node as it is, and click on clear. So it will keep only the center nodes. It will remove all the other nodes and keep only the center node. So the confusion will not be there. So you have to create a rigids from this node to which connects to the inner of this bolts, inner surface of this bolt. Now, as I told you that we are going to apply the forces in this location and moment in this location. So we all, same way we have to generate the center of this and center of the second one, and then apply the find the center point of it. But as we have a 3D machine, so we cannot go and see the hollow structure of it. So there is one more way to find the hollow structure of it and apply the forces on that structure and find the center. So that I'll show you. For that, go to tools. On tools page, select edges. Sorry. On tools page, select faces. Select the component for which you want to create the faces. Click on find face. So it will create a face of this. Face will be the mesh, outside mesh, that is if I mask any one. So you can see it is a hollow structure. If I mask a big portion of it, you can see it is a hollow structure. If I just change the color, as you can see, this is the hollow structure. So I'll say unmask all. Then as I'm going to apply the forces in this location, so I will mask this. Similarly, I will mask this portion and delete the rest because I don't require these elements. So now if I on this too, so these are the exactly over these two, and these are hollow also, so that I can find the center of this circular cylindrical portion and apply the forces. For this 2D mesh, as it is a 2D elements, so for this I also require to define a property and material so that it will simulate during the analysis. But if I give a bigger thickness, it will the geometry will get distorted. So I will rename it as, say, connection. I will click rename and say connection. So for this, first I will create the material and property. So I will use the same material, but I will create a different property. So I will click return to exit those panels and go to property collector icon. Create a property as connection. As these are the 2D elements, I will select element type as 2D. Card image as P shell, giving the same material, and click on create edit. This time I will give a very minimum thickness so the geometry will not get distorted. And then go to components, select the component and update the component with proper property. So if you convert this into a 3D, you can see there is no much difference in the 3D geometry also. My property is assigned on this, but there is no change in this because the thickness is very less. So if I change it to line mesh and a 3D, so there is no change in the thickness. So it's just the shell mesh to create the connections. So now I will apply, create a center nodes using these two cylinders and apply the forces on the nodes of this. So as they have the common nodes for each and every element, I will show you. If I mask this and this, say reverse, so you can see this 2D shell element is exactly lying on this tetra element, sharing the same nodes. So if I apply the forces on this 2D element, that will be transferred to the 3D element also. So in the same way, it gets transferred down. For anyone, you can check it. So they are sharing the same nodes of 3D and 2D. So now I'll apply the forces or create the rigid connections for these shell elements, and similarly it will get transferred to the 3D machine. So I will off this, go to return, then again press F4 from my keyboard. From the 3 nodes, I will first find the center of this circular region. Similarly for the bottom one, then with this I will create a node between. Again go to F4 and pick the circle center, picking any 3 arbitrary nodes. Similarly in this side, another side. And then picking these 2 nodes and say node between. So in this way I have created the nodes. Again I will do the same. I will remove these 2 nodes by going to Shift F2, picking these 2 nodes and keeping only the center nodes for the rigids and to create the rigids. So now you can see, if I on this, these are the center nodes for the bolting location and these are the center nodes. So now I will create rigids to connect the center nodes to each and every node of this 2D mesh, also with the wheel hub. So first I will create the rigids for this 2D mesh. Rigids are only used to transfer the forces, so that's why we will not provide any material and property for it. They are used just for the connection or transferring the loads. But as they are the elements, so we have to create a new component for it, so that the material and properties of wheel hub elements or the connection element will not get transferred to the rigid elements. So I will go to component collector, enter the name as rigids, give him a different color, and without giving any property I will click on create. Make sure there is no properties assigned to rigid. So now you can see in the model browser component, a rigid component is created. Now to apply rigids or to create rigids for your model, go to 1D page. In 1D page you will find rigids panel. So in 1D page select rigids panel, make sure all the 6 degrees of freedom are on, select the independent node as the center node, and in the dependent one select multiple nodes, pick any node at the circumference or at the any of the area of the cylindrical and click on nodes, say by face. So it will pick all the nodes on the face and click on create. So it will create a rigid spider for it. So if I apply any force or torque or any constraint, it will get transferred to all the connecting nodes. Similarly, I will pick this node, pick any one node on this, say nodes by face, and create. So in this way it has created 2 rigid structure, one for this cylinder, one for this cylinder. Now I open the wheel hub. Similarly I will pick this node, pick a node on any of the circumference and say node by face. So it will create this node or rigids. Similarly for this node, nodes by face, create. So it has created the rigid mesh. Similarly this node, nodes by face, so it has created this one also. And for this node, pick this node and by face. So it has created the entire, we have created the entire rigid structure of this meshing. So this is the entire rigid connection where I am going to apply the forces and constraint. Now once my forces and constraint rigids are done, now my next step is to apply the forces and constraint on my model. So I will start with applying constraint. So to apply constraint, first I need to create a load collector for constraint. So first of all I will create a load collector as SPC, giving no card image because we are going to apply the constraint, and giving a proper color, say create. So on the model browser you can see my load collector as constraint SPC has been created. To apply constraint on your model, go to analysis, constraint panel. In analysis page you will find constraint panel in second row, second column. Select the node on which you want to apply the constraint. So on the all the center nodes I want to apply the constraints. I will pick one by one all. You can cross check that whether the center nodes are picked or not, so you can just off it and you can see all these 4 nodes have been picked. Then I'll only apply the constraint for degree of freedom 1, 2, 3 because 3D element doesn't support rotational degrees of freedom. They only support the translational degrees of freedom. So I will click on create. So now you can see my constraint. If I again off these, so you can see my constraint has been created. You can also maximize the size by changing it. So now again I will on this. Now my next step is to apply the forces on my model and apply the torque on my model. So first I will apply the torque. Earlier people used to do like to apply the torque, say whatsoever the value, they create a bar or a length of that from the center and apply the force on that, so it will behave like a torque on this. So but in Hypermesh you have a direct panel to apply the torque as moment. So I will off this meshing, also off this rigids. So on this I am going to apply a negative z direction torque, say around of 2g. So to apply the torque, first I need to create a load collector for 2g. So I will go to load collector panel, create a load collector name as torque, defining a different color so that easily I can view it. Click on create. So once you click create, you can see on the load collector the torque has been defined. Then to apply the torque on your model, go to analysis. In analysis you will find moment panel through which you can apply torque on your model. So as I told you, we are going to apply somewhere around 2g force on the wheel hub. So as we will consider 400 kg of my, if I consider my vehicle to be of 400 kg, so 1g will be around 4000 Newton and 2g will be cross around 8000 Newton. So this will be shared by all the 4 wheels. So for one wheel it will come around say 2000. So I will put here as 2000 and pick this node and click on create. Also I can increase the size, so you can see my moment of 2g has been applied on this wheel hub, particular wheel hub. Then my next step is to apply the forces on XYZ axis. So in X and Y I am going to apply a 3g force and in Z I am going to apply a 2g force. So for that I will create a load collectors. So with the same way I am going to create a load collectors for force X. Say create force Y, giving the different color, create, and Z. Now I'll off this meshing and apply the forces in this particular node. It will get transferred to the outer surface. So to apply forces on your model, go to analysis, force panel. As I told you that we are going to apply a 2g force on this z-axis. So first of all, make sure the force z is current. As it is bold, it is current. So select the node on which you want to apply the force. So I am going to apply the force in positive z direction of say somewhere around 2g. So similar calculation, if we consider 400 kg of my weight, so 1g will be 4000, 2g will be 8000 and divided by 4 wheels, so one wheel share around 2000. So I will apply here as 2000 and just click on create. So it will create a force of 2000 in z direction. Similarly for X, it will make it as make current. For X, we are going to apply a 3G loading. So 3G stands for 12,000 Newton of force. So for 1, it will come cross around 3,000 magnitude, and select the axis as X. Select the node on which you want to apply the force and click on create. Similarly for force Y, click on make current. Select the axis as Y. For the Y axis also, we are going to apply the same force and click on create. So in this way you can see all the forces and constraints have been applied on my model. So now you can see this. So in XYZ direction the forces and movement has been applied on my model. So to solve this, we can have a different load cases, like either the force X and torque are acting at the same time, or there is no torque, or there are all the three forces are acting at the same time, or maybe possible two of the forces are along with the torque are acting at the same time. So now I will show you how to combine, or how to apply the combined loading in Hypermesh and how to simulate that. So to show that how to apply the combined loading, I will take some examples. As we will apply first as force X and T are acting at the same time, then we will apply force Y and torque is acting at the same time, then we will apply force Z and torque are acting at the same time. Then fourth will consider as X, Y, Z, all the forces plus torque is acting at the same time. Then the fifth one we can consider as X, Y and T is acting at the same time. Sixth one we can consider as X, Z, torque is acting at the same time. Or seventh way we can consider Y and Z and torque is acting at the same time. So in the similar way you can perform so many different combinations of loads. So I am just picking some of them to show you how to perform the combined loading, or how to apply combined loads in Hypermesh and simulate them. So I will pick only these 7 and show you the procedure. So first click return to exit the force panel. Then to apply the combined loading, you have to create the combined load collectors. So to create the combined load collector, go to load collector icon. Here my first case is to apply the X and T combined loading. So I will enter as combine XT. Give him a card image as load, which helps us to combine the two loads, and then click on create edit. Enter the load number set as 2 because we are going to combine two loads. Enter S as the scale factor 1. Same for the first loading, enter 1 and second for 1. So it will multiply this with 1 and apply the forces. If you want to magnify any one force, you can just input the value of scale factor. So it will multiply that particular force with 2 and apply that accordingly. So I don't want to do this in this model, so I will apply this first torque and force X. Then I will apply Y and T. So I will click on create edit. Again I will put 2, S11, S12, 2, torque and force Y. Similarly Z, again 2, this one is 1, this one is 1, force as torque, this one as force Z. Then the next is to apply 4 loading conditions in the one load case, that is XYZ forces plus torque. So that how can we simulate that, I will show you. So applying XYZ plus torque, click on create edit. This time we are going to combine 4. So I will enter the load collectors as 4. So first is torque X, Y, and Z. So in this way it has created X, Y, Z. Now my next is X, Y and T. So I will pick X, Y, combine X, Y and click on create edit. So either I can take 3 or 2. Why I am saying 3 or 2? Because I have already have XY combined loading. So if I pick 2 and put as 1, here also 1. So I will here enter as combine XT. So it will have the both combined loading of X and T. And here we will take force Y. So it will have the combination of XY and torque. Similarly, for the second you can also take it as, if I take XZT, so you can take it as create edit, enter here as 3, S1 values all the 1, then torque X and force Z. So in this way it will create XZT. Then my last will be YZT. So I will here enter Y, Z and T. Say click on create edit, enter 3 values, 1, 1 and 1. Select the torque, Y force and Z force. So in this way I have defined the different load cases. These are the different load collectors I am going to apply on this model. So now we want to, if you want to see the results, that what will be the stresses and displacement due to first X force, second Y force, third Z force, fourth torque, fifth combine X and torque, sixth will be combine Y and torque, seventh will be combine Z and torque, eighth will be combine X, Y, Z and torque, ninth will be combine X, Y and torque, 10th will be combine X, Z and torque, and 11th case will be combine Y, Z and torque. So for that we'll create 11 different load collectors, in which first we will take X, Y and Z. The SPC will be common, the constraint locations will be common for all the different load cases. So now I will show you in the single file how can you check what are the values of displacement and stress for these 11 different load cases. So I'll create different load cases in the same file, solve the single file and find out the different analysis or different values of stresses and displacement due to the application of these different forces. So for that, go to analysis. In analysis, select load step. So first I will create the load step for force X. Check the box for SPC. In the loads, select force X and click on create. Make sure the type is linear static. Click on create. So it will create a load step for force X. Similarly, I will create a load step for force Y. SPC as SPC, load as force Y. Click on create. Similarly, I will create a force for Z. SPC as SPC, load as Z and click on create. Similarly, I will create a condition for torque. SPC as SPC and applying the torque, create, and then the combination. So I will first take as combine xt, SPC will be same, combine xt, create, then combine yt, SPC will be same, load will be combine yt, then the combine z and t, that is the force z and torque t, combine zt, create. Similarly, I will use x, y, z and t, all the combination. So SPC x, y and z t, create. Then we'll pick as xyt. So SPC xyt, create. Then xzt, SPC will be same as SPC, load will be combine xzt, create, and last will be yzt. So SPC will be same and loads will be combine yzt and create. So these are the 11 different load cases which I am going to apply for on my model, and see what are the different values of the stresses and deflection which we get after performing these different analysis. So to solve this model using Radios, first I will save this file. So click on File, Save As. I will create a new folder as Analysis and save this file. Then I'll go to Radios, Analysis, Radios, to run this problem using Radios. Select the export option to all, run option to analysis, memory option to default, and click on Radios to start the solver process. So it will start the solver window. While it's running, I'll give. I suggest you don't apply the combined loading by taking the reference of another one, which as I have taken. Always try to go with the baseline process, like pick, if just like that I have picked x, y. So xyt, in the load case of xyt, I have taken the value from combine xt and applied the force with y. So don't do that. Always, if you want to apply 3 load cases, pick the 3 forces as force x, y and z and then apply it. So the results will not be different, but if you find some errors, though, it will be quite difficult for you to sort those errors. So it's always better to apply the forces in a separate way. So once you can see my analysis has got completed, the message has appeared, then click on results. To view the results in Hyperview. So this is the VLAN. On the model browser, I will off this rigid and connections. So this is my VLAN, where the values of stresses and deflection we want to see. So go to contour, select the result type as displacement. This is the value of displacement, and we will see the values of stresses. So these are the values of stresses. I will click on measures to check the maximum and minimum value of the stresses. So maximum stress is coming as 53 on this location, that is the node number 4229, and the maximum value is coming as 53.811 Newton per mm square. So also I will on this animation plot, as the displacement is very less, so I will magnify it to deform. Click on deform and magnify the scale value to view the displacement more accurately. So due to the forces, X forces, you can see the deformation will be something like this, as you can see. Then if you change it from here, you can see all these sub cases will be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is force X, Y, Z. That is force, torque. Then combine XT, combine YT, combine ZT. that is the then combination of x, y, z and t. Combine x, y, t and combine y, z, t and combine x, z, t. So I will click on this drop box to pick second one. So this is due to y force. This one is due to z force, as you can see. Then this is due to the torque. As the displacement is very less, so you can also magnify it a little more to view the deformation. So you can see due to the torque it will behave something. It will try to twist this. I have applied this in the z-axis, so it is twisting it as z-axis. So you can see it is twisting it. But the value is very less, that's why the displacement and stress is very less. So you can magnify that and then check the values. Then for the next load case, that is when torque x, force x and torque is applied at the same time. Then force y and torque is applied at the same time. Then force z and torque is applied at the same time. Then this is the case where all the three forces are applying on the same time, that is x, y, z plus torque. So the stress value is 137.950 Newton per mm square. Then these are some more cases, that is x, y and t. This is for x, z and t. So this is the failure location. This is the maximum stress value for y, z and t. So in this way you can check the different load cases, different analysis in single file by solving it. So it will not only save your time, but also it will help you to get a better iterative model and a better analysis. So always go through the different load cases in the same file and solve it once to get all the results. So you can apply this in a similar way or a different one. So in this way you can solve the wheel hub analysis. You can change the different forces and different combination of forces you can apply on the wheel hub. So in this tutorial I have covered how to create a 3D mesh of the wheel hub, then how to apply the forces and how to apply the combined loadings, that is combination of some forces like 2, 3 and 4. If you want to increase the combination of forces, you can apply to 5, 6, 7, how many forces you want to combine, you can combine those, and then you can view the results in hyperview in this way. So in this way I have ended this tutorial.